Welcome to my garden again. This is Robin. I'm in Zone 6 in Northwest Connecticut. So today, I hope you're having a good day in your garden. It's a beautiful day in Connecticut. We're not at 99 degrees anymore. It's no humidity. I get asked a lot how I remember every single plant that's in my garden. Well, first of all, some of them I've had for years, but I also keep everything on an Excel sheet. So bed by bed, I actually have a list of what is in that bed. So the same goes for dahlias, and I was going to talk about dahlias today. I have them color coded, but I also have them assigned to where they're going to be planted. So it's time to take the tulips out. I think I got most all of them yesterday. And the dahlias I have in pots, and I'm going to show you, I pre-pot mine. I've had a little trouble in the past where I've put the tubers directly in the ground, and either voles have gotten them, the chipmunks have gotten them, the rabbits have gotten them when they start coming up and they're really small. So I like to wait till they're a little bit bigger. So I pop them all up. They're usually in my basement, and then they start coming out to, get acclimated to the outside. This year they've been in my little hoop house. And they're growing, so I thought I would just show you what I've got going and where the dahlias are going to be replacing the tulips. Here I treat tulips as annuals. I pull my tulips for two reasons. They don't like sitting in water, as the bulbs can rot and we have sprinklers. Second, they don't always rebloom consistently the same. So I'll be replacing my tulips with dahlias and annuals. I like to get mine growing before I put them in the ground so the rabbits don't eat them the second they sprout, which has happened to me before. And you're going to cut your dahlias early in the morning or cooler in the evening when they're open, as they don't continue to open. They make great cut flowers. So let's examine a dahlia tuber. Here you can see the ones from Swan Island Dahlias actually come with the name printed on them. They also happen to supply a name tag. If they don't have a name tag, you want to make yourself a name tag for sure. So they can arrive as a single tuber, which these are, or they can actually be a full clump. For sure, like I said, you want to tag them and stake them or use some kind of plant support. The taller varieties, the weight of the dinner plate dahlias can literally knock them over, or a storm will break your stems, and that's heartbreaking after you've done all this work. So they need full sun, since they're originally from Central America, and they need three pieces to be viable. So you have the body, and that can be long and narrow, it can be fat and plump. You need a neck that connects it to the crown, and then you need eyes. So you can see these are a little bit different, but there's a growth point there, and there's several growth points here. So we're going to take our tuber, we're going to put it in some soil. If you're putting this right in the ground, dig it 4 to 6 inches deep, lay it on its side, hope you can see that, with the eye facing up. And then again, you're going to cover it with 4 to 6 inches of soil. It helps to get a really nice strong root. Give them plenty of light, and don't start watering them until you actually see some green growth. Dahlias should not be planted out until all possibility of frost is over and the soil's consistently 60 degrees. They can be planted in containers and just put in the landscape. They make great cut flowers, and they'll last till frost, at which time they can be lifted. And if you're in a colder zone like we are, they can be divided either in the fall or the following spring. You can store them in vermiculite or some other medium in a dry basement or garage that doesn't freeze. I've had no luck with this. They grow in zones 3 through 11, and if you're at least in a warmer climate like zone 8, you probably can leave them in the ground. So a dahlia tuber can be a clump, it can be a single tuber. So in this case, with a clump, we're going to put it in the pot, and we're going to fill it up just like we would do a bare root rose. Fill the dirt up around it, and then get it in the soil. Sorry that the audio got messed up on this portion of the video. And we're going to put it in the pot and cover it completely. So you want to deadhead them regularly so you have more blooms. Some people suggest pinching them out at the center when you have like 3 to 4 sets of leaves to encourage better branching and more flowers. It really isn't necessary. I don't always do it. To get earlier blooms, I start mine indoors 4 to 6 weeks before our last expected frost date. Use at least a gallon-sized container, lay the tuber on its side, eye up, and cover it with 4 to 6 inches of soil. If it's a clump, you're going to stand it up and cover it. So sometimes they come in clumps. It just depends on who the grower is. After they're up several inches, I transplant them out into the landscape. You can put them in containers for sure. Just move them around wherever you want them. Ordinary garden soil is fine. The dahlias don't need to be started in advance. So here's an example over here of one that I just put in yesterday because it's already pretty large. Whoops, let's get out of the shadow. There's one. So I've got my support stake. You want to, since I pot mine up, I typically put them in the ground at the height of that where the soil is. If you're putting the tuber in the ground from scratch, you want to be about an inch underneath the soil. Make sure it's nice and loose. Maybe put some compost in there, or biotone starter, something like that. And I've used dahlias in different ways. Some years I put them all in one flower bed. Sometimes I mix them up so they're in with other perennials and shrubs. This year I'm pretty much mixing them up, putting them in and around the different plants that I have. So let's take a look where I'm replacing some tulips. Here we go. Let's see. We've got Rebecca's World. So I've got 3 of them. You can plant them about 12 to 15 inches apart. It'll make a nice bunch fill in right there. So let's look at some others. They like full sun, so be careful where you plant them. Make sure you have a full sun location. So here I had the French blend rose tulips, which I loved. Now I pulled all those out yesterday, and I've just placed a couple of dahlias. I have one here, and another one over there. The pots are whatever I had. And, just based on, the color that I'm looking to introduce into the bed, will depend, like where I'm putting them. And that'll replace the tulips. I also have in here that is up after the tulips is some alliums. I love alliums. And I've got those in a lot of beds, so I have a whole clump right here that's going to open up. I see lots of stems, which is awesome. So I used to put the dahlias over here in this driveway bed, I'll call it, and I'd have all my zinnias and all my dahlias because I like to just use them for cutting. But this year I really wanted to, first of all, I have a bunch of seeds that I'm still going to put in here. I haven't gotten to yet. My list is long this year because of my open day for the Garden Conservancy. But again, I will be popping things in different places. So again, over here, I pulled out tulips. I've already put in some annuals. That's salvia, Proven Winner salvias, and containers also. And I'll do a video on the containers that I planted, but right now not much is up in the containers. This has got calla lilies in it, but you can see, oh, the camassia is up though. Look how beautiful these are. Look how pretty that is. And I've got a whole group of them over there. They're backed by Salvia caradona. Now, I've talked about this bed recently. The grasses are so slow this year. I'm not sure what the story is. These are giant grasses, Shenandoah, and they're really kind of the centerpiece of the back of this bed. So I may be doing more filling in here than I'm thinking. Let's walk and see some other ones. I mentioned the other day, hibiscus are very late to break dormancy. So this one is just starting. And I also have a bunch of, I pulled all the tulips out here. I have a bunch of different coleuses, some poppies, and here's another container. This is center court. It's a white dahlia. I have 3 of them there. So I'll be getting ready to put those in the ground. I'm just waiting for them to get a little bit bigger. So hopefully the rabbits leave them alone. And they'll go in this area. Oh, there's one lone tulip still left. In case you've never seen Amsonia in bloom, this is just really a beautiful perennial. Comes back reliably year after year, even though I've got to say I have no idea why one is large and one is short. They're right next to one another and there's nothing different about them. It's kind of crazy. Can't figure it out. You just go with the flow. And in case you haven't seen Deutzia, this just started blooming. This is the white one. And I have a pink one on the other side. I got the hydrangeas all cleaned up. Peonies are getting ready to open. They're all budded up. And again, this bed probably will only get maybe 1 or 2 dahlias because it's pretty full. And I see one of them over there. I probably won't do anything else in this bed. I have more than enough dahlias. I'll be spreading them all over the yard. Well, I'd love to know, what do you think about plants that self-seed themselves all over? This geranium espresso, which I love, literally has found its way all over the garden. It's in every bed. You know, if it gets in a place I really don't want it, I will pull it. Do you leave self-seeders or do you pull them out? Here's another. You know, kind of my thought on it is, if something's going to be that happy in a spot I didn't put it, well, who might argue with it, right? Lilacs are getting ready. So I will, same thing with this bed. I'll probably only have, I don't know what on earth was there, but it's obviously not coming back. So I will put a dahlia there for sure to get something in here. I think I might have had, yeah, I'm not sure, maybe an annual Rudbeckia. And I did plant some more Rudbeckias like Cherry Brandy and Sahara, but rabbits ate them, so they're totally gone. I'm trying to grow some from seed and see what happens. So not too many dahlias going in over here. In our new bed over here, I do have a bunch that are going to go. And I just have tags as placeholders right now. You can see my little tag right there. Got a few of them. So I'm gonna pop those as soon as they get big enough. I'm gonna pop them in there, and they're gonna bloom all the way till frost. If you haven't planted dahlias before, they are really just a absolutely wonderful plant for cut flowers. They just bring so much joy. They bloom all season. Once you plant them, they'll bloom all the way till, like I said, till first frost. They're a great addition to any garden. They're no maintenance. They're very simple, and you really should try them. Try a couple. Buy them from a reputable place. I typically buy my dahlias from several places. Swan Island Dahlias, Old House Gardens, Eden Brothers, Longfield Gardens. Those are a few that I buy things from. It just depends what variety I'm looking for, where I'll buy it. In this bed, you saw the one that I popped in over here. So I've got the first dahlia in over here. I usually have crocosmias over here. For some reason, they just don't come back. Also, I had to replant this Weigela. This is spilled wine from Proven Winners because the one that was there barely had any growth on it. And I had a bunch of foxgloves and stuff in here. Again, this seems to be an area that the rabbits like. So I will have dahlias in there. And let's see, where else am I going to put some dahlias? Like I said, you need full sun for the dahlias. So I don't typically put any in this bed because now at this time of day, this bed is in the shade where it's in the sun all morning, but that's not enough. This bed will get some dahlias. This is one of our new beds, and this will actually get a few dahlias popped in. Again, and one of the things I talked about the other day is when you're planting a new bed, now I'll be the first to say I bought some very large shrubs. The other bed that I showed you, they're very small. They came in 1 or 3 gallon containers. In this case, I did actually buy some very big pieces. You know, the pine, the cryptomeria, the rose of Sharon, the paperbark maple. But the other things are small. So again, this year, while things are very small, I'm filling in with annuals, Supertunia Vista, Mini Vista, some perennials I popped in here, Geranium Roseanne. I've got some daylilies, but I will be popping in some dahlias. Hope that explains it. Please feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Always glad to answer questions. And or what is that plant? Just tell me what you were looking at, and I will be glad to answer. Here's another Jennifer's wedding. It's in a spot that needs more sun, actually. So I'm just waiting for an order from Proven Winners for the whole front of this bed. We'll have James Britannia, and I'm just waiting for those annuals. Again, fill in with annuals where you have any spaces that are sunny. Hope that simple explanation of dahlias answers some of your questions. Feel free to ask me other questions about dahlias. I don't know how involved you want me to get. If there's a subject you want me to talk about, please let me know. I have been gardening for at least 30 years, and I'm never quite sure exactly how much detail you want people on YouTube to go into. So hopefully that's a simple enough explanation, and enjoy gardening. My favorite dahlias, I love the purple ones. I love Jennifer's Wedding, Thomas Edison. Oh gosh, I have a whole list. If you'd like some suggestions, let me know, and I'll give you a list of some of my favorites. I have a lot this year. I have a lot that I ordered, so I have plenty to choose from. Enjoy, and I hope you're having a great day gardening. Please consider subscribing and like this video if you're interested for more. Here's one last look at tulip before I pull it out. Just about done over here. Have a great day.